theCUBE at ServiceNow Knowledge 14 is sponsored by ServiceNow. Here are your hosts, Dave Vellante and Jeff Frick.
We're back. This is Dave Vellante with Jeff Frick. This is SiliconANGLE Wikibon's continuous coverage. We're at Moscone for the Knowledge 14, hashtag No14 if you want to tweet. I'm at D Vellante, he's at Jeff Frick. And we're here with Matt Schvimmer, who is the Vice President of Products at ServiceNow. Matt, welcome back to theCUBE, CUBE alum. We last saw you in the fall, coming off a great keynote from Frank. Welcome.
Thanks, it's great to be here. Excited to see you guys again.
Big crowd here. You know, somebody commented to me, wow, this is a little different from last year. It's starting to get bigger and bigger. And how many of these have you been to?
So this is my third,
okay.
And it's mind-blowing to see. You know, 2 years ago in New Orleans, it was about 1,200 people total. We're now about 6,700 in this event, and the growth is just unprecedented from anything I've been.
Well, you're at the right place for it, right?
Yeah.
Moscone can hold it. So give us the update. What's new since we last had you on in the fall? We were talking about the Dublin announcement. How's that going, and what have you been working on?
Yeah, so we launched Dublin. It was November when I think we last talked, and we were talking about Dublin, and it's been a pretty exciting uptake. You know, we focused a lot back then. It was about expanding from being a system of record to a system of engagement. We were focused a lot on how we expand from IT into the lines of business, and we've really been focusing on extending into other enterprise services. We focused a lot in HR, facilities, how IT could start enabling other parts of the business, and uptake's been pretty exciting.
So is ServiceNow a platform, a system of record, or a platform for engagement?
Yeah, it's a great question. The answer is yes. The answer, it's both. It really is a system of record and engagement. So we started out as a system of record, and what we've really done is we've focused a lot of our time and energy on how we get more of that consumer-like engagement experience, so people don't just feel the dread of having to come in, record a ticket. You know, it's much more about how am I engaging, what information do I need, and the engagement of what workflow I need to do behind that system of record to really drive fulfillment and drive satisfaction.
So what's happening within IT from your perspective? I mean, historically you got the operational guys and they're managing the infrastructure, you got the application guys liaising with the business, they got the budget, they got the juice, but the operational guys make it all happen and they know which wires to connect and knobs to turn. With DevOps coming in and the whole cloudification, as Frank was talking about, you're seeing programmable infrastructure, and at the same time you're seeing the lines of business really drive a lot of the spending. What's your take on what's going on there, and how is IT morphing? Yeah,
you know, there's two phenomena I've seen. One is what Frank was hitting on this morning, which was the apps and ops was our historical kind of structure inside of IT, and that's really become this DevOps, as you referred to before, where the IT organization's gotten a lot more agile. Right, and so application development and operations are one and the same so that they can release a lot faster. And the reason they've had to do that is because the lines of business have become more empowered. You know, Frank introduced the term cloudification today, which is really about the lines of business have the spend now. It's not this centralized IT budget. And so the IT organizations had to morph themselves into being a much more proactive service provider embedded into the lines of business if they're going to stay relevant. So it's not about just optimizing the spend of the infrastructure, but understanding what the lines of business need by embedding themselves as a business strategist with them and be able to get a lot more responsive, and that DevOps responsiveness is how they address that as well.
So can you really discern a difference between a ServiceNow customer in terms of how they're morphing, how fast they're transforming, what value they're bringing to the organization, and somebody who's not a ServiceNow customer? Yeah. I'm a skeptic, I'm a prospect. Convince me that you can see a difference in your customer base.
You know, it's funny, it's a great question, and you know, when I look at prospects that you know, we first go in and talk to, typically what they talk about is how much they spent on their last upgrade. They're talking about cost metrics and the fact that they're struggling to take advantage of whatever functionality from whatever vendor they're using, because it's such a huge investment year to year just to spend on maintenance to upgrade and maintain their systems. When I go to our customers, and I've worked at a lot of other vendors, you know, in my past, and I've seen this, when I go to talk to our customers, they're talking about how they're trying to manage the demand of all the different types of work that people want to put on the systems. When they expose ServiceNow to their customers, the customers come back and say, I want to do a system of record like that, I want to do engagement, you know, can you do that for me, what you've done for IT?
So talk a little bit about how that, it's not necessarily a dedicated land and expand strategy, but it's kind of working that way because the internal IT people with the success they have with the app actually become your inside sales force and how that, talk about how that kind of migrates through the organization and where some of the next departments to fall and really buy into the ServiceNow execution. Yeah,
you know, it's been a very conscious strategy of ours to not alienate the IT professional. You know, our goal is to sell to IT, to empower IT to sell themselves as a solution provider to the business. So it's been a very conscious effort on our part to go that way. And so what we see is we'll sell this service management message and we'll give them the exact, sometimes we'll give them the talk track of, you know, how you go to talk to lines of business, but most of the time it's been very viral where they understand how to apply it and they've proactively gone into HR, you know, HR, other lines of business to go and deliver this. HR was our first one we talked about when we met about 6 months ago on this.
On the Dublin release.
The next big step for us has been facilities. Okay. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about here at the show is how we can do the same thing for facilities, field services as well, to address those types of shared services.
So the other big trend, right, is the app is king. Everything is driven from the app, as you just said. It's a line of businesses that are building the apps, and the infrastructure's got to support the app. And at the same time, Fred always talks about the citizen developer, and he wants regular business people like me to be able to build apps. And you know, how are the IT folks accepting that? And then how is that morphing with the app first from the line of business versus the IT people building the apps?
I'll tell you, it's been a long desire of our customers to be able to segment out the work they do and be able to empower the different lines of business to build whatever they want to build. And to do that in a non-programmatic way. A big focus of ours in the last 6 months has been to be able to build an interface so that non-programmatically, I can just drag and drop, create my forms, define my workflow, and publish it. So what you're going to see in Eureka, we're talking a lot about how the lines of business can create their own service catalogs, their own engagement interface, and design their own forms of demand intake without any kind of IT assistance. So that's been a major focus, and Fred's going to highlight a lot of that. I don't want to steal his thunder tomorrow. He's going to be showing a lot of that main stage.
Yeah, you guys are showing a little leg on Eureka, so we're excited about that. We'll learn more as the week goes on. But in thinking about sort of the new style of applications, you got HTML5, you guys announced, you know, mobile, you know, native mobile essentially last year. You got Microsoft pulling support on XP, which is kind of good news from a browser standpoint. How do those factors fit into the future of ServiceNow?
You know, one of the big design criteria we have when we build is that applications always are inherently mobile, right? So everything we design is always built for web, tablet, mobile, phone, right? So that's kind of a critical design criteria that we have from the beginning. And you know, we're browser agnostic, so whatever happens on your operating system is not really a concern to us. So that's one of the nice things about being a native cloud-based solution. If you're on Safari, you're on Internet Explorer, you're on Firefox, Chrome, whatever you want to do, ServiceNow is live and ready.
What have you seen in terms of mobile uptake?
Oh, it's been huge. It's been huge, especially there's some parts of IT that it takes a little while when people start thinking, when they think IT, they think, you know, someone sitting at their desk, right? And it's really so much more when you start thinking about people working in a data center, people working at kiosks, having to do remote deployments of field services. You work on a tablet, you work on a phone. Most of the time you want to get on your phone, see exactly where use geolocation, find where the problem is, be able to quickly identify who else is online and collaborate with them. It's really picked up significantly.
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, I even watch, you know, we watch who's watching theCUBE on their mobile, who's hitting our websites on the mobile, and you know, the last 12 months have just been an explosion, and I'm sure you're seeing the same thing in your base.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, we introduced a new tablet interface last year, and we thought of it as really a consumptive device, you know, for reporting and information intake. And really what we found is it's been a field service work productivity device.
Okay, we'll give you the last word. We got to jump. What should we be looking for in the near term, you know, throughout the rest of this year from you guys?
So big focus on the service lifecycle, services taxonomy. Frank was hitting on it this morning about a much clearer interface of how you design, visualize your services, and most importantly, how you track the cost and value of those services you deliver. So a lot of focus on financial management, a lot of focus on managing everything in IT in a services taxonomy.
Love the focus on value, turning IT from a cost center into a profit center. You guys are at the heart of it. Matt, thanks very much for coming on theCUBE. Great to see you again.
Pleasure, good to see you guys.
All right, keep it right there, everybody. Jeff Frick and I will be right back with our next guest right after this. This is theCUBE, we're live from Moscone.